The secret is the same as that of the Eve. In it we ask of God two things. Firstly, that the fire of the Holy Ghost may consume the holocaust of our hearts, which through his gift of compassion are now wholly consecrated to God, and as a continual sacrifice beat for him alone. Secondly, we ask that the same Holy Ghost may descend upon the offerings which we have now laid on the altar, so that the feeling of earnest devotion with which he himself inspires us may make this Holy Eucharist a sacrament efficacious and profitable for our sanctification. During the entire octave of Pentecost, this commemorations of the Holy Ghost, of which we have already spoken in the Mass of the Vigil, are inserted in the canon. On this occasion, the memory of that first Christian Pentecost in the upper room on Mount Sinai is all the more touching when we call to mind the special work performed by the Holy Ghost on Calvary. Then, in the fire of his ineffable sanctity, he consumed the divine victim, who per spiritum sanctum semitipsum obtuli immaculatum Deo. For this reason, the Fathers, when they invoked the Paraclete in the ancient Eucharistic epiclesis, prayed that he would descend upon the altar and overshadow the sacred gifts as testis passionem Christi tui. This is always the mission of the Holy Ghost. Ille testimonium perhibebit de me. He who had a full understanding of the ineffable martyrdom of the crucifixion, since he had sanctified it in his love, must now bear witness thereto before the world. This he does by strengthening in our souls the effects of the redemption through the outpouring of his gifts of grace. The communion is taken from the lesson Acts 2:2-4. A sound was heard as of a mighty wind coming. The apostles were filled with the Holy Ghost and began to speak of the wonderful works of God. The mighty wind is a symbol both of the force and of the gentleness of the action of the Holy Ghost. Of force, for who can stand against God? Of gentleness, because this action does not in any way violate our free will, for it is God himself who shapes and directs it according to his pleasure. He does not influence us against our will, that would be doing it violence, but moves us to desire that which is right. The post-communion is similar to that of the Vigiliary Mass. The Holy Ghost is likened to a gentle dew, which, whilst it cleanses the stains of our hearts, renders them fruitful of good actions. Without this dew, our hearts would be like a land scorched by the sun. The fierce fire of our passions dries up within us every pure spring, and leaves them as a stony desert, where no blade of grass can grow. Then comes the Holy Ghost and quenches these evil flames. The burning soil of the heart receives the kindly dew from heaven, and the Paraclete sows therein the seed of every great and noble virtue. Tertullian describes the Christian as formed of a body, a soul, and the Holy Ghost. The phrase is somewhat paradoxical, but must be interpreted in the sense intended by its author. The Holy Ghost it is who, by his grace, actually raises the soul to the supernatural state of an adopted child of God. It is the working of the Paraclete which determines all our meritorious acts in such a manner that when we call upon Jesus, when we mourn at his feet, when we suffer, when we work for God, it is always the Holy Ghost who prays, who mourns, who works in us. He too, testimonium radiat spiritui nostro quod sumus filii Dei. Indeed, it is actually the spiritum filii sui which God has infused into us, in order that we may share together with Christ the grace of being his well-beloved children. The same Spirit, which dwells in us during our life and impels us towards heaven, does not cease to work in us at our death. At the last day, he requires the restoration of his mystical temple within the Christian soul, and this propter in habitantem spiritum eius in nobis.